super sport, wet paint, big feet. I pull up and kill shit, 6 feet.
Alright, 6 feet going deep. It's Torius and my co-host
Jerry Vega, bruh.
With
Veronica Vega.
Alright, Miss Vega, why don't you tell us about what you do?
Well, a lot of people in Miami know me from Love and Hip Hop Miami. But before Love and Hip Hop Miami, I've been doing music. I'm signed to super producer Polo the Don. And I've been doing music since I was 13 years old. And I mean, that's really like what my career is, besides like
to be a
knowing
singer, dancer.
Exactly, yeah.
How long has that been your goal?
Since I decided that being a doctor wasn't going to help as many people as being an artist would help people. So
really?
I think 13 was really like the age when I really was like, man, this is really a career choice for me.
Why do you feel have that opinion?
I think growing up, I would always see things on TV or like see things in the neighborhood or just people needed help, et cetera, et cetera. And I always felt like the only way that you could help people, just being young, you know, you don't know as many things as you know as you get older.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I become a doctor, then all of these people that are in need, I could help. Because I felt like only doctors can cure things. And then as I got older, obviously my passion was always music. And my family is very musically inclined. So as I started getting older, I was like, of course you can influence people through music, and you can change people's lives through music, because obviously my favorite artists have influenced me and they changed my life. So
I didn't mean to like cut you off, but who are your favorite artists?
I grew up listening to Whitney Houston and Celine Dion, Toni Braxton. Those are Aretha Franklin, Celia Cruz, La Lupe. Like, I always liked vocalists. Like, those are the people who inspired me to like really do music. But entertainment wise, growing up, obviously I love Janet and J-Lo and Beyonce, obviously. So, you know, it's I've had a lot of musical influences, but I think in the beginning, I think like when Titanic came out and Celine Dion was on had that soundtrack, I think for me it was like the moment where I was like, wow.
Did you watch the movie like 100 times?
I did. I did. I still watch the movie, and I still love the movie. I still love the soundtrack. Really? Yeah. Yeah, I think certain things are just timeless. They last forever because they really are great.
Yeah. So, was like Brazilian sounds like really influential on you too?
Well, Wicked kind of came from a Portuguese background. So the song I did with Pitbull called Wicked, that's where it kind of stemmed from. So I definitely love listening to Brazilian influences, but I'm not as cultured as I'd probably like to be on Brazilian music, if that's the term that you use to describe it, because I'm sure they have their own name for what their music is. But yeah. I'm not as educated as I'd like to be, but I definitely hear it and definitely love it, because I feel like the rhythms are very similar to Cubans, Venezuelans, Colombians, you know what I'm saying? African rhythms.
Sounds kind of similar, because Portuguese and Spanish sounds the same. So
yeah,
you kind of get a little understanding.
Exactly, but I think the drum patterns, the rhythms, the soul that's in Brazilian music is the same. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about Miami. How was it like growing up out here?
I always tell people growing up in Miami is a family vibe. I think anybody that grows up in Miami, even though you may have a problem with this person or that person, like growing up in Miami, in for the most part in general, is like growing up in a community that's tight knit. So if you need something, at least the neighborhood that I grew up in, I'm from Hialeah. Your neighbors, you guys all know each other. You guys help each other out. You guys know when somebody's in need of something. You can always go to the neighbor and be like, hey, do you have sugar? Do you have, you know what I'm saying? Everybody it's a tight-knit community. Even though you guys aren't family, it feels like family. Also, growing up in Miami is very multicultural. So you go to school with all different types of people, different colors, different shapes, different races. It's kind of like all one. So I just feel like everything is very family-based. Like everybody's really united in Miami.
And your abuela is very important too, right?
Oh my God, yes. Absolutely. Well, my parents got married when they were really young, and I think for most kids, if you're blessed enough to have your grandparents obviously are a big part of like the love that you feel. And my grandparents have always supported me through all of like the mistakes that my parents have made being young. So every time that your parents have something to do, or they're working, or they're out getting it, your grandparents are always the ones that like take you in. And obviously my grandparents have done that for me, so I have a great love for my grandparents.
Yeah, because
all of them actually.
In the Wicked video, your grandma was like a big part of it.
Yeah, I was just talking about that the other day because my grandmother, what was that, yesterday I was talking about it because she still lives in Hialeah, and you know, she comes from like a humble, modest home, and we were shooting the Wicked video, and we ended up shooting that in Little Haiti. And
really?
we put her in this little house that we had rented to shoot the video, and she was like, "Ay, esta casita está bien chiquitica." She was like, "I don't want people to know that, like, why don't we have a bigger house, like, so people can see?" And I'm like, "Grandma, you live in a house that's kind of like that." She's like, "Yeah, but what are the people gonna think?" You know, it's like the Latino, like the immigrant thing almost. It's like, I don't want people to think that this is how I live. And I'm like, "Grandma, this is how you live." She was like, yeah, but we couldn't have got like a house that was like nicer and bigger. I'm like, yo, you're so extra.
She's trying to flex for the video.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, you know, like, you're an artist. You can't have me having me here. I was like, "Oh, I want you to wear the roller." I just wanted it to be authentic. My grandma wears rollers in her hair every day. Yeah. She puts her rollers on in the morning. And I'm like, "You should wear." She was like, "I know. I'm not going to wear rollers in the video." So she did. And she was like, "I'm going to have my hair done." She was like that. But
did she make arepas every day, or like did she want to do like something more fancy?
No, she didn't really have a choice. When you're like shooting music videos, it's kind of like you wish that you could do everything you really wanted to do, but everything is, you know, you have time frames within, you know, to have to do things, and so she didn't have a choice. This was what she was gonna make today.
So what is like a misconception, like what people think of Miami from like other like places and to like the real Miami? Like how do you see like the difference?
I think people think that in Miami all you do is go to the beach and live on a vacation,
jet ski.
And people here don't have jobs or responsibilities. Like, you just come here and everybody's just hanging out and being naked and working out, and everybody just has a nice body and things just come from heaven and it's always sunny, and you know. But I think, you know, obviously when you're from Miami, you know that everyone here works very hard, especially because most of the people here are immigrants that are looking for better opportunities, better lives. So everybody here works extremely hard. And for the most part, you don't really have time to go to the beach. Like, the beach is a luxury here if you have free time after you've basically taken care of all your responsibilities.
And you're done with all your work.
Yeah, and I think another misconception too is that that everything is very, for lack of a better word, everything is like, rah! You know, everything is just like, and like very beautiful and put together. But there's a lot of parts of Miami that aren't highlighted in the way that South Beach is highlighted. I think a lot of people think that that everything is Spanish too, that, you know, or that we live the American way. I think that people don't really realize like how blended together Miami is. I think some people feel that Miami's an island. I think other people feel like Miami's part of the States, and I feel like that's part of the misconception, is that you think that it's one thing or the other, and Miami is kind of like,
it's like a regular place.
It's regular, but it's not like when you go to Atlanta. It's not like when you go to Alabama. It's not like when you go to Oklahoma. It's not even like when you go to New York. Obviously in New York there is a lot of blend because there's a lot of Latinos there, but I think in Miami it's more Caribbean cultures. It's not just Dominicans and Puerto Ricans. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like everyone.
It's everything. It's like South America and Central America and the Caribbean is very big here. Like, when you go to school, you obviously went to school with a lot of Colombians, a lot of Venezuelans, a lot of Hondurans, a lot of, like, you see people from Argentina and Peru and Ecuador and Costa Rica, and it's super, super, super diverse. And I think sometimes too it's kind of like, well, Miami there's Cubans. No, it's just everything here. It's everything.
Yeah, everyone. A lot of people, like, they came here for vacation too, so like they're from like all over the place, and they just like decided to stay. So it's like.
And I think people always think that Miami is South Beach. Miami's not South Beach. Miami's so much more than South Beach. It's richer than South Beach as far as culture goes. South Beach is a little piece of what we have, but we have so much more.
Yeah. I noticed that you're like very articulate and very well spoken.
Oh, thank you. I'll take that.
What was like your school life like when you were in school, like growing up?
I left school when I was 15 years old. Well, at least I left like real school. Then I started doing homeschooling because I got my first recording contract when I was 15 years old.
Oh, really?
So I thought I was the shit. And I left school and I was like, fuck this, I'm out of here. I'm famous now.
What song was it that was like blowing up? Or like what?
I didn't have a song that was blowing up. I actually got signed from singing a cappella.
Oh, really?
That's how I got signed. And then I was like, all right, well, I'm out of here. I really wanted to focus on my career. I moved to New York because that's where my label was. Well, I really moved to Jersey, but I worked out of New York. And my mom went with me and she kind of like took her whole life with her to Jersey so I could like kind of live out my dream. And that's how I really studied, is really at home. Like I had a tutor that would like kind of check in with me, and I kind of was responsible for making sure that I graduated, you know, on
how is it like balancing the music and like doing all the work, the homework and stuff?
I think doing homeschool was always more difficult for me because I'm kind of a hands-on person. So there's some people that are blessed enough to like see something and they're like, ooh, I got it. Like they don't have to try it, you don't have to explain too much, you just
get it.
Show it and they get it. I'm really not like that. Like you have to show it to me, then you gotta like go through it with me, then I have to do an example, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I got it. You see what I'm saying? Like I'm not a
visual.
Yeah, exactly. So homeschooling was a little bit difficult because homeschooling, you kind of have to do things on your own. You're responsible for your own stuff. You don't have a teacher or somebody like, hey, did you make sure that you did it? There's a test. We're going to review it.
You're accountable for like everything.
Exactly. I think it was more responsibility.
Do you feel like it like kind of like sheltered you a little, like with your personality, or did it make your personality like more flared?
Yeah. Absolutely. Because I think that you lose your social skills if you're not around people that are doing young kid things. I missed out on a lot of things. I missed out on homecoming. I missed out on, I fortunately I did go to prom because somebody that I had gone to school with was like, oh, let's go to prom. And I ended up going to prom, but it wasn't my prom anymore. It was their prom that I was invited to.
Does that make sense? To see you?
Yeah. But it still wasn't the experience that I wanted. It wasn't my school. I didn't feel proud in the same way, if that makes sense. I didn't feel accomplished in the same way that I felt like everyone that was there felt accomplished. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think school is a great thing, and I think that when you don't go to school, I think that's the reason why we do school, honestly, is because everybody could study from home. Your parents could teach you everything that you need to learn, but I think part of going to school is so you can learn how to work amongst people. Yeah, that's a big part of going to school, is so you can learn to like interact, so you can learn to like desenvolverte in like, I'm sorry, I don't know how the hell to say that in English, but like to... You know what I'm saying, right?
I don't know how.
I know you speak Spanish.
Yeah, I do. It's like to take yourself out of the situation.
But like learn how to like
embrace everything.
Yeah, like how to. Behave in certain environments, or like grow in an environment.
Were you ever
Yeah, desenvolverse is like growing, like kind of like.
Were you ever a shy kid? Like, were you?
Yeah, I think
just to yourself.
Yeah, I've always been shy. I've been a loner. I actually have 2 sisters, and I always spend a lot of time in my room. But I think it's because I actually really enjoyed creating on my own, and I liked my own space, like uninterrupted space. So yeah, and I always was scared of like what people would think about my thoughts. I was always like, how are they going to judge my creativity, or how are they going to judge how I feel about certain things? I think when you're really young, you always wonder if like you're weird, you know?
Yeah.
Like, am I weird for thinking this, or am I... Like, so many things go through your mind when you're young. So I think instead of me being... And my parents got divorced when I was 7. I think that like really... Can you curse?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, because I curse a lot. It's the best way to express myself.
I feel like that fucked you up.
Yeah, that shit fucked me up. Like, really bad. I never noticed it until after I was grown, and I was like, shit. Like, when my parents got divorced, because my dad was my life, and my mom was like the queen of the world. And when they separated, it was like... almost like you have no hope anymore.
It was like devastating for you?
Yeah, like if your parents can't sacrifice for you, if your parents can't hold you down, then who's gonna hold you down? And I think that was the pivotal moment for me when I was like, fuck it, I'm out here solo dolo, like it's on me to really like create my own happiness type of thing, because my parents were making sure that they were good for their own happiness, you know. So that's the moment where I really realized like you are the person that's in control of that.
So do you feel like that's when you broke out of your shell? Like what do you think it was?
No, it took me years after that. I still like that made me more scared. Is that why I got to that point? Like that made me more shy. It made me more reserved, because I was like, I felt like I had no backbone at that point. I had nobody to back me up for real. I had no.
You feel like you're by yourself, like
I felt alone, and I felt like, who was I really gonna talk to? I knew that I could talk to my parents, but I think to have support in any way in life is very important, because you feel like you can really express yourself at that point. Because if you feel like if you fail, there's somewhere to fall back. But if you feel like you have nothing, I think you're more fearful of moving forward, because you don't know what's gonna happen if you don't get it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I think it's really important even for parents to build with their children, however it is, like whatever type of skills you do, if it's spending time with them or whatever it is, because that really is what builds the foundation for your child's confidence. So I think it's really important. My dad was always so strict, because he wanted us to be so like right or so perfect, that I think that was another part of my problem, that I always wanted to be so right, because my dad was so weird about being wrong, that I was always scared to try new things, because I was like, what if this doesn't work? Like, what if I'm wrong? I always start things and be like, am I wrong?
I feel like people are judging you.
Yeah, and I was never like free to just, you know, I think when you have kids, you have to let them try things. You have to let them
not feel so restricted.
Yeah, you have to, if they want to paint on a wall. That's why it's like, I really want to do art, because eventually I want to get to a place where I have enough money and enough liberty where if I have children, my children, if they start painting on the walls, be like, why can't you paint on the wall? Like, why wouldn't my child be able, like, why not? If that's what you want to do and you feel like that's something that's inside of you, you should be able to do it. We'll paint the wall back white. You see what I'm saying? Like, why wouldn't we, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I want to.
I got in trouble a lot for painting on the wall, so I would never.
I did too. I used to draw on the walls and get my ass whooped. Like, super. But that's something that's like, I think you just start learning these habits of things, or like, I read something Kanye had just tweeted the other day, and he was just like, we're taught to be actors since we're young. Like, your parents are like, that's not right, that's not wrong, and then you start learning to act however it is that your parents or whoever you're around kind of feel that is
like the mask that you wear, pretty much.
Exactly. But what if you were allowed to like just really freely express yourself? Like, how different would you have been if you had no real restrictions? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you felt like the people that were around you were your peers, and they were just supportive of the things that you did. If your parents were just supportive.
Do you feel like there will be a world where that actually happens?
Yes. Yes. Yes, for my children it will happen. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think we grow these children for those children to grow the next children that will change the way that everything works.
Because I feel like even if the parents are like, they let the children do whatever they want, like there's always going to be someone like the teacher that's going to be like, no, don't do that, oh, you're being too loud, oh, stop talking, or like, you know, the teacher, they're going to see the teacher as another like
I think it's our responsibility though to raise the new generation in a way where their mind is open, because the teachers of the next 2 generations is not going to be the teacher that is this generation's teacher. So if you teach your daughter or your son these things, when they become a teacher, they're able to allow my children or his children to be more free. And these are the children who eventually change laws. These are the children who really change the world. So it's like teaching these kids to really be free, I feel like is, and when I say free, I really mean like, I don't feel that we were made to have restrictions. I think that we were made to
be free,
to really live life. And I feel like we do everything besides live life. I think we're always like, money is the leader of everything, and we just follow the dollar, and whatever is going to be able to make us that dollar. That's where a lot of people are trapped within their money. Like, you can't move in life, like you can't even be free anymore because of money.
Do you feel that way? Like you're always chasing a dollar? Like you're always
no,
like
but
money, like,
no,
everything?
I don't. I don't, but I feel that I'm blessed because I do have family that does support me. But if I didn't have the support that I had, I would have to be chasing a dollar, because where would I live? Like, what would I do? How would I get by? And that's why I think it is important to teach kids. That's why I think it's important for people like us to create places where kids could go express themselves, because they need support. There's kids that don't have support, and they need places where they can go to do these things.
Do you plan on like helping kids like interactively, like
yes, absolutely. I now work with the Lotus Village, which is in Overtown, and that's a center for homeless women and children. And these are children that really have nothing. Like, they really don't have a foundation. They don't even have a home. And there's something that's really crazy about that, like not knowing where you're going to be tomorrow. So to be able to help, I mean, and then however you can help moving forward. But like, I think for me, it's all about starting small, because there is a lot of things that I have going on aside from it. So it's like being able to find stability for myself, so then I could create stability for other people.
Yeah, it's really noble of you. What about like some misconceptions that you have of yourself? Like, what are people like?
I think the biggest thing is that I don't care. And I do think that sometimes I do have that attitude, because it's a protective attitude, to protect myself. So I think when you are a person that's so open and so inviting and has great intentions, people take advantage. So the first thing that I do is put my guard up, and sometimes it comes off really harsh. You know, so I think a lot of people are like, she doesn't care, because I don't just let you in. You get burnt a certain amount of times, and then you're just like, oh, I'm not gonna, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, and I'm very protective. I'm very protective of my space and my energy, because I know that everybody isn't in the best mental space, because I know that everybody isn't in the happiest,
and they don't have the
position.
The best intentions for you.
Exactly. So you have, I think because I do protect myself, and because I am a woman protecting myself, it just comes off bitchy. Yeah.
Do you ever feel like you're judged for that, for being a woman in hip hop?
Yeah, I'm judged for being a woman every day, just in general. Fuck hip hop. I think there is a double standard when it comes to women. There's a double standard with a lot of things. There's a double standard with men too. It goes. I'm not sexist at all. I think men have a special thing. I think women have a special thing. But there is a double standard, and there are certain things that people feel that women cannot do. And there are certain things that I just feel like there is certain things that women cannot do. A woman can't get another woman pregnant. You see what I'm saying? There's certain things, but then there's things like hip hop that's just like, get out of here. That's definitely something that a woman can do.
How do you overcome that?
Continuing to do it. Just be consistent. Like, do it. If you love it, do it. I think anything that if you really love something and you're willing to like die for it, then you just keep on doing it, and it works for you. If it fulfills you and it makes you happy, that's all that really matters. And then eventually you just get better and better and better, and nobody could really stop you. I think passion and love is where the light is. So no matter what, you're gonna shine in that field if that's where it's coming from.
Do you feel like you're being fulfilled now, doing what you're doing?
I feel most fulfilled in this moment, like this present moment. Like within the past couple of weeks, after shooting Love and Hip Hop, it's given me time to really just come into my own and really like grasp what life really is for me. And I think I've gotten into a more creative space, and I'm really grateful for it. And I just feel like I'm in a place where I'm continuously growing, and I'm happy with the way that I'm growing and the way that I'm embracing things that I want to do.
Yeah. How did you actually get started with Love and Hip Hop?
I had a song called Pay Me, and that song went viral. The song and the video went viral, and they contacted me maybe like 5 years ago, and they were like, would you be in Atlanta? And it just wasn't the right time. And then when they started doing Miami, they were like, would you come to Miami? And I was still hesitant because...
You were in New York at that time?
No, that was actually years after New York. I was in Atlanta when that happened. And they were like, would you be willing to do Miami? And Love and Hip Hop definitely was something that I was weary of doing, because to me it was like, the last thing that I want to do is be involved in drama in real life. You know what I'm saying? Like, aside from TV. And I didn't know how that would affect my music.
Because I do see a lot of like especially rappers nowadays, their way of like blowing up and like keeping relevant is to create a lot of drama. And I see mostly your drama is contained in the show.
Yeah, I try.
Yeah, you don't.
I try to
too
leave
much,
it in the show. Yeah. Yes, I mean the game has changed, so it's not like back in the day where we used to like go look for music just for music purposes. Entertainment has changed from music to just entertainment in general. So that's why drama is such a big part of artist's life now, because it's part of entertainment. So
people like conflict.
Exactly, and those are the things that give you like
all the followers.
No, that's the shit that like makes people excited. That's
Gets
that
you
whatever
attention.
that feeling. I forget the actual term that it is,
Euphoria?
but yeah, it's like a dopamine effect.
Yeah.
So when you see a fight, or when you see blood, or when you see the color black, and like
everybody gets adrenaline. Like
exactly.
Adrenaline rushes.
You're like, you know, those are the things that make you be like, you know, let me watch this. Things that are unbelievable, things that you would feel like you probably would never do. Those are the things that you want to watch. Because you're like, oh my God, did you see this? This is super crazy. Like, can you believe this is happening? And that's why you want to watch it, because it's something that you wouldn't do. Nobody that you know would dare to do it. And so that's why I love it. That's why people watch Love and Hip Hop. It's like, what is this shit? This is, you know, or, I mean, there is people that do experience life like Love and Hip Hop. Fortunately, my life is not like that. You know, sometimes you go in and out in life, but I think that's why. So now entertainment has shifted into just a place of, if you entertain in general, if you're a good dancer and you dance on your Instagram, you get followers. If you just look beautiful every day and your face is flawless, like you see girls that are just popular for just posting selfies every day, but their face is flawless, that's a form of entertainment for girls that are looking for a certain look. So it's just, some people get in fights every day, some people throw money, some people drive nice cars, some people, you know, but it's just entertainment now. It's just like, how, choose your form of entertainment, you know.
Do you feel like it's easy for you to be in that character of like being able to do something that most people won't be able to do?
As like, elaborate.
Like, let's say, you know, like being in conflict with another person. A lot of people, they try to avoid conflict, but like, how do you get into that space where you just want to like, where you want to be in, you know, in that situation?
I never want to be in that situation. I never wanted to be in it, even on Love and Hip Hop. I think they just, you end up getting in situations where certain people are really driven by popularity and fame, and the show is driven to, you know, obviously towards, you know, anything that's going to get them ratings. So certain things, I think they attack your character, they push buttons that they know already that are things that really are going to affect you, that they know bother you, that they know hurt your feelings. And I think once you get into a place where you feel like you're really being attacked, at some point you're going to defend yourself and your character, because I've actually never felt so attacked the way that I actually felt during the course of the show.
How does that affect your personal life?
It affects everything in your personal life, because you're super stressed out about it. You know, it makes you overanalyze. It makes you wonder like, what's going to happen tomorrow. It makes you, especially if you don't come from that type of environment already. I think when you come from an environment of being like, fuck this, I'm gonna fight, fuck this, I'm gonna just say whatever, like I don't care what the repercussions are. But like I already told you, I was raised with a father who was like, this is right, this is wrong. So I was always weary of what was right and what was wrong. So going into a situation like Love and Hip Hop, I fight myself every single day, or every single time I'm in scene. Like, I know that this is wrong. You see what I'm saying? But it's like, but I still have to defend myself. And so you're like playing tug of war with your mind and your heart, and everything you've ever known against everything that you're in now. You know what I'm saying? For me, at least. I don't think that applies to everybody, but based off of how I live my life, I wear my heart on my sleeve. And I think that's how I ended up in the conflicts that I ended up in on the show. I'm a person who, I feel like I'm a person who's really genuine. Like, if I don't like something, you'll know. If I like something or I love it, you'll know. And I think sometimes people, like I said, take advantage of that. And that's what happened to me in this show. Like, the arguments were perceived as if they were about something else, but in real life they were just about something that I was really passionate about, that really had nothing to do with the show, but was edited to feel like it was about the show.
What is your feelings towards that, like after when you watched the edited version?
shock. Like when I watch back, I'm like, bro, this is entertainment. Like at the end of the day, like you just like you at some point you just have to be like, fuck it, you know. Like I signed up for it, so I'm like, okay, you know, this is what you get, you know. But I'm still like, I can't even believe that I got pushed over the edge. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't believe, because I'm so chill in real life. I mean, I got a slick mouth. You know, if you know certain things, and I'm sarcastic. I think that's like, yeah, for the most part, nothing really, you know, if it doesn't pertain to my family or what I have going on, I'm not really like in somebody else's tea, you know?
So do you feel like some problems are on the show, whether it be fixed, like with you and Amara and
I think everything in life can be fixed. I think once you really just fall in a place of like I said, like real love, like what love is, and you're really just centered, I think that everything is just kind of, everything turns into love if you are love, you know what I'm saying? So I just gotta get to the place where I am love, but I'm not there yet.
Because at first you were having problems with Trina, right, at the beginning?
No, I never had a problem with Trina on the show. No,
because he's on your own. You said that she's gonna be on the remix for
she was on the remix for Pay Me.
Yeah.
So when we actually were on the show, we discussed, she was just like, oh, I got a lot of slack because a lot of people thought that you were white. When they heard me on the record, and they were like, oh, okay, you're on the record with a white girl. And she was just like, so that was the conversation that we ended up having. But no, I've never had no problems with Trina, thank God. Trina's like a real ass bitch. Like she really, really is. Like I super respect her. Like obviously I grew up on Trina, so then being able to work with Trina and then be, you know, involved with her even on the show, and being able to have real interactions, like it's not no TV thing with her. It's not she's very honest. She's very like real.
You guys have like similar personalities, or do you feel?
I think Trina will turn up a little bit more than me. I just think nobody has really pushed her over the edge. I think she'll really like turn up on somebody. But I think I think if you're really from Miami and you're not really trying to like have a certain type of image and you don't really care about those type of things, I think there is a lot of similarities in people that are from Miami. It's just kind of like, it is what it is, you know.
Is there gonna be a season 2?
Yeah, there is a season 2.
Are you gonna be on it?
We'll see. We'll see if they stress me.
So when it comes to your music, like what's your actual recording style, like your process? Like
it varies. Sometimes I'm in the studio alone. Sometimes I'm in the studio with Polo. Sometimes they'll give me music that already has lyrics. Sometimes I'll sit and write with a group of people. Sometimes I'll write stuff on my own. It just varies. It depends. Like I love working with other people, like exchanging ideas. I think it's the best way for me to be creative as far as music goes, as far as creating music. And there's so many things I like learning, so working with other people who
you just pick
are
up
more
everything.
Experienced, you're able to learn more. Absolutely. So however it comes, like I'm just grateful for however it is that I can do music. Like for somebody who really has dreamed of doing music their entire life, to be able to do music is just an honor.
What about on the song Pay Me? The lyrics were like really repetitive. Why did you make it like that? Like what was what were you going for?
I think first of all, I heard Pay Me years and years and years before it came out. And I recorded it years and years and years before it came out. And when I heard it, I really loved Pay Me because Pay Me to me reminded me of 2 Live Crew and Trick Daddy and Trina. And it was very sexually aggressive. It was in your face. It was bossy. It felt independent to me.
It felt like a strip club anthem. Like you just like play it at the strip club.
Yeah, it definitely has strip club vibes. But I also felt like it reminded me. It just reminded me of everything that I loved about Trina and Trick and 2 Live Crew and Luke. And the fact that it was repetitive to me was exciting because it was something that you can learn.
Yeah.
So it wasn't about being lyrical. It was about
saying
it was about a vibe. It was about like being able to be in your car, put the windows down, and just talk shit. It was like how are we gonna, like, that's what we do in Miami. We talk shit. It's funny because there's a lot of times that I'm like, oh, you're just talking shit, and people are like, what is that? And I didn't even realize that like saying talking shit is really like a Miami term. Like talking shit, like basically you're just saying shit, you're just talking out of the side of your face, but that's basically what talking shit is. But basically that's what I'm saying, like you're just shooting the shit. Hablando mierda, like. And so I was like, this is dope because it was young and it was free, and it was, like I said, again, it wasn't about following the rules or the structures of a record. It was just about having fun. Yeah. And that's why I liked it. And I think a lot of people, they were like, oh, you know, she's not really a rapper, and this isn't real lyrical content, and why is it so? And I'm just like, yo, people are so like aggressive about just creativity. It's just creativity. It's just fun. Like, it's just, I think sometimes people just want to always take the things all the way to the end or to the limit, or like it's do or die.
Because to them it's like it has to be like a certain way.
Yeah, and everything has to fit within this box, and if it's not in this box, it doesn't work. And I don't know, I just can't. Like, I've struggled way too many years even dealing with my dad of how he wants to be in a box to be able to come out a little bit of the box, to then motherfuckers be like, go back in the box. Like, no, fuck that shit. I'm never going back in the box. The fuck? No. I hate the box. I'm going to be in a circle.
That's a good attitude to have. What about, like, knowing that, like, millions of people know you? Like, what's that feeling like, knowing that you have, like, fans and people that just, like, know who you are?
It's still kind of weird. Like, the love and hip hop thing obviously opened me up to like a way bigger audience. So now when I go places, people do recognize you. I think a little bit is scary, you know, because you don't, like, people know you, but you don't know that they know you. So let's say we go into a room right now, and it's like, I'm not famous. Like, I'm not like
Beyonce.
I'm not in a place where it's like a household name. You see what I'm saying? But I am in a place where it's like, if I'm in the city and I go in a restaurant, people will know who you are, but perhaps won't even say anything to you. So let's say you're having a conversation, they're listening into your conversation, they're perhaps taking pictures, but you don't know who knows you. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, it's still weird to adjust now.
I feel like when you're on YouTube, or like just like when you are able to see like all the comments that people leave you, like it's a lot of hate. So you don't know, like, if someone, like, they see you and they know who you are, but they're like a hater. So they
that happens to me too. You become protective also, because the other day I went to the fair, to the youth fair before they closed, and a lot of people kept coming up and they were like, yo, can we take a picture? Can we take a picture? And sometimes people be like, when they come up real hard and real aggressive, I get scared, because I'm like, what if this is somebody that be leaving hate comments on my page? It's weird. It's weird. It's like, you don't know. I don't know you. You know me, or you think that you know me. You see me on TV, but I've never seen you before.
But sometimes when they leave the hate comments, it's just like a way to get your attention, because like once you reply to them, they're like, oh shit, I fucking love you. I love you. I love what you do. Like,
and that nice.
Really?
No, they'll go back and, you know, some people. I just think that there's a lot of people that really haven't had the opportunity to do what they love to do, and today I came across somebody, or I was telling them about somebody that commented yesterday, and they were like, you must delete so many negative comments from your page. And I was like, dang. I wrote back to them and I was like, actually, you're the only lame comment I got today. Other than that, I've been cool. But I was like, spread positivity. Like, it's so crazy because they were highlighted that day because they legitimately were the only negative comment I saw all day. And it wasn't really a negative comment, but it was going in a negative direction.
It was just negative.
It wasn't positive comment. And I was like, I wonder about these people. Like, I wonder what made you follow me. You're on my page and you're leaving comments on it about negative things that happen. Like, I would have a completely different interaction with you if you were like, yo, what's up? Like, I just wanted to say hi. Like, how does it feel? You know what I'm saying? You asked me a question from a different angle. I
think it's because it's easy to just like look over those comments and just like, because you actually feel something when you see the negative.
Actually, and I want to say this, for all of my fans that write me on Instagram or DM, I write back to my fans. on Snapchat, on Instagram comments, on DM. Like, if you really show love, I definitely show love back. I definitely acknowledge you. I don't just acknowledge negative shit. Negative shit pisses me the fuck off because I'm like, you're a loser. And you've chosen to be a fucking loser. And that shit pisses me off because it's like, why? You don't have to be like this. Like, this doesn't have to be your life. You see what I'm saying? Like, why is this the shit that's coming out of you? How can we help you?
They
like,
want what you have.
They're envious.
So, yeah,
yeah, but there's a way for you to have what I have. There is a way. You see what I'm saying? Like, if you focused your attention on having the things that you want, because what I have, I'm sure that you do not want. You see what I'm saying? Like, it looks like something, but it's something else. So if you would just focus your attention on having the things that you wanted to have instead of being on my page or someone else's page, focus on what they have, or focused on, not only focused on what I have, but on top of it, hating on it and leaving negative comments on it, you would just be in a different place. Like, maybe you should take a break from social media and really start focusing.
Yeah, actually doing work.
Exactly. Like, work on the things that, like, work on those things. Everybody that has achieved great things wasn't by accident. They don't just like stumble upon success. That doesn't happen. You really have to work for things that you really like. You might get something by accident, but to keep it, you have to work. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't like those are, but I do comment back sometimes, and I never comment back like fuck you. It's always like, yo, you really need to like redirect your energy. Like, you need to like figure it out. Because you may think that I'm a bitch. You may think whatever. You may think whatever the fuck. And you feel like you have to bully me. But that only makes you me if that's what you feel like I am. It didn't make you better than me. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So even if you feel that I'm a bitch, or you feel that I'm a bully, or you feel like I dress whack, or you feel whatever it is, and you come on my page and attack it, it doesn't make you doper than me. It doesn't even make you equal to me, actually. You see what I'm saying? It just makes you lame. It's so lame. Like, it's the worst. So I'm like... But I mean, I guess people need some avenue to express their anger.
Because there's always gonna be haters, so you just have to focus on like what you're doing.
Haters are just lovers. Haters really love you.
Yeah, I know.
They love you more. Haters make you more popular than the people who actually genuinely love you, because the people who genuinely love you, they don't spread as much energy as much as the people who hate it.
Because then they're like, oh, look at this, I hate this, and they're like, oh, what's that?
Exactly. Haters are my number one fans.
So what was it like being on Power 96?
Oh my God, I was there yesterday. It was super, like, a humbling experience. Like, so grateful because I grew up on Power 96. And I used to listen to like DJ Laz in the morning on my way to school. I'll be like, put the radio down. And radio was a really big part of when I was growing up. Like, we didn't stream or anything like that. Like, radio was how you,
hits on there.
Yeah, that's how you got music. Like, or watching like 106 in Park or TRL. Like, that's how I learned about music when I was a kid. So being able to go to Power 96 and that it's still there, and a lot of the people that were there when I was younger are still there, and my music playing there is surreal. I think it's different than going to another radio station, because that's the radio station that I used to listen to. So it's like, turn on the radio and you're on the station that you listen to. That's a big fucking deal.
It's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? It's like when I met J-Lo, it was the same type of experience. Like, I love J-Lo. She was a big influence on my life and growing up, because she was a Latin American. So she wasn't just a Latina, but she was born in America and lived the American lifestyle with Latin parents. So it was like, she was of what I was. Like, I love Shakira, but Shakira was born in another country. So it was like the person who I could relate the most to, or the only person that existed to relate to that capacity for me, was Jennifer Lopez. So when I met her, it was the same thing. It's like, I've seen you everywhere in my life. I've looked up to all the things that you've done, and now I'm seeing you in real life, and I can't believe it. And I think that's when people have like those fan moments, because it's like, you are the influence. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've inspired, you're the inspiration for a lot of things. So to be able to be in the same place as something that I've seen my entire life, and finally be amongst that, is like I said, it's a humbling experience. It's like God comes down and is like, bitch, can you believe this shit? Like, you know, so like, then I heard the song on the radio last night, and it was just, I've heard my songs on the radio before in other places, but never on Power 96. And so it was just, it's a dream come true. It's like my dream actually happening in front of my face.
Yeah, that's amazing. have you ever like met someone or like done something that you thought, like let's say the music industry, like the expectations you had for it before you came in, like was it the same? Is it everything you thought it was?
Different.
So different.
It's so different. It's so different. I thought like music was like Disney World.
Really?
Yeah, but no.
You get your like little ears.
It's like going behind the scenes at Disney World. Like, you know, would you really want to like know how much like people pay to get in and how many kids get lost? And, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what the music business is like. It's like being underground at Disney World and like Mickey Mouse taking off his head and you seeing like
Darth Vader or something.
The man. No, you seeing the man inside, and you be like, "You're not Mickey Mouse." Like what? You know, that's what it's been like. You know, and then it's like being the man inside the Mickey Mouse, you know, costume and being hot and sweating and trying to make people's dreams come true, and you out in the sun and nobody knows that you're in there and nobody cares what you feel like and nobody cares if you have a heart, nobody cares if like what's inside. It's just like, you're Mickey Mouse, make us happy.
Yeah.
You know?
How do you like continue to be motivated and want to keep working even though, you know, it's like that?
I think my family, being able to help my family, and I want to get to a point where I'm really living my dream. And I really genuinely like being creative. Like it's something that really does fulfill me. If I could really be creative without worrying about deadlines or like things like that, I think that's what takes away from people's creativity. It's like, you got to finish by this date. It's like the greatest things built in life were created by feeling, and it didn't have a time. It was just like, it just came together.
Yeah.
Being able to create obviously keeps me inspired, and then what really keeps me moving forward and never giving up is my family, because at some point, like my parents came to this country for a better life. Obviously they wanted me to have a stable future, and I'm still over here like tumbling around trying to figure it out. So it's like, when am I going to be able to help my family or be able to help my sisters and be able, I always say, it's like, when is money not going to become a factor anymore? I just want to get to the place where money isn't a factor and we really could be creative and really live life the way that life was meant to be lived, you know? Be able to go places and do things without worrying, like, if we have $1. You know what I'm saying?
Do you feel like being under a label restricts that creativity? Or do you feel like it helps?
I think mentally I've restricted myself. I think sometimes you could go into a situation and you think that it's something, so you already come in with a certain mentality and you restrict yourself. Fortunately for me, creatively, I don't think that my label has ever restricted me creatively. No. Polo has been incredible in supporting anything that I wanted to do creatively. Like, and he's super creative and he's helped me learn more things, and like I am very blessed to be in the situation that I'm in. I think when you do sign to a major, I'm signed to an independent label. I think that it's different because it's a corporate company. It's not like, you know, it's
like
not
a number instead of like
they see you as a number, and I think that there is a different type of pressure there. It's like, okay, so when is the album coming out? We only have this amount of time. If we spent this amount of money, we need to make this amount of money back, and it does turn into a money thing. And so it's like, okay, well, you know, obviously we all want to make money, yes, but like this isn't, you know.
You gotta please the fans.
Yeah.
That's how you make money.
Yeah.
So you have an EP coming out, right? Or is it a tape?
Yes, I have an EP coming out. And there's a lot of visuals that are attached to it, and I'm really excited about it because I think a lot of the things that I don't express, like I'm very hesitant to express things on Instagram. Sometimes I don't just like talking about it because I feel like creatively that's just so bland to just talk about it, and so I've made a decision that instead of talking about it on Instagram, I just want to express it through my
just put it through the music.
Yeah, and through my music and through my visuals that I have coming out.
What inspired this EP?
Bless you. Being from Miami inspired it. Being in love inspired it. My struggles in music and like really figuring out who I am as a woman inspired it. And I think my mother inspired a lot of it because I've seen her struggle so much as an immigrant, as a young girl, as a mother, as a wife, as a woman, as an entrepreneur, as a creative, as somebody who I feel like is a star that never had the proper foundation or the proper opportunity. And
that came here and just did her own thing and just made it herself into.
Yeah, but I'm saying I don't feel that she was able to be the light that she really is.
Was she very creative too?
She's still very creative. I think my mom is a genius, and I think she's a star, but I think that so many things like stopped her from being able to achieve those things. So I think my mom is a really big inspiration for me. Even when I think about men, I think of my mom. Like the way that my mom's experiences with men is a big influence in how my EP came about. And I think that directly her experience with men were directly, unfortunately, an experience that ended up happening to me. So I think all of those things play a factor in what my EP. Obviously Miami is definitely a big part of it, because sonically there's a lot of influences that come from home.
Yeah. What about some advice you want to give to like any artists starting out right now, especially like female artists?
Really figure out what it is that you feel comfortable with, what it is that really inspires you, that really moves you. What are the things that you really love to do? So if your thing is like you really, really, really like to sing, then really focus in on that. Like really master it. Like master the things that you really love to do. Focus on them every single day. Like work on them continuously, because those are the things that ultimately, that's your strength. Like those are the things that really make you powerful over anybody else. And those are the things that you're ultimately you're never going to give up, because those are the things that you really are passionate about. Those are the things that you really love. And I said yesterday too at the radio station, like there's nobody like you. You're one of one. So to really hone in on that also. Like I think now with social media, you constantly compare yourself to the next person. Like what is this person doing? What do they have? How am I different than this person? What is this person doing that I'm not doing? And I think if you really focus on what you are, and that's what I'm saying, that's a discovery in itself. You don't just discover it in one day. You really have to ask yourself questions. You really have to go out and do things that you have to experiment. You have to, if you want to go out and try something new, you should try something new, because those are the ways that you really like figure out who you are and put that into whatever it is, whatever your artistry is, because there's so many different types of artists and so many like talented young people now. It's crazy. Like really focus on those things and never let a no get in the way of anything. Like a no is nothing. Like all the greats, anybody who's ever really achieved nothing has heard no a million times. Like it's easy to say no,
because once one door says no, there's another door to open.
There's a million doors. There's not just one door. And sometimes you feel like this is your door, and it's like that's the door that you want, and it's almost like, well, go to the other place, and you might have already like skipped this door in the other place, and now you're in a better door than you would have ever imagined.
Yeah, there's no.
So it's about opening up. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just like being concentrated on one little thing, because there's so many other things out there. So it's like being able to really know that no isn't shit. Like no ain't shit. Like no is not godly.
That's like the worst thing you'll ever hear is a no. Instead of like that's the worst.
That's the worst thing that'll happen. Yeah, and that's another thing. Like my little sister always tells me, like, well, what if somebody thinks, and it's just like, and I've gotten caught up in like, well, what do people think? You know, like, are people gonna like this? Are people not? But it's like, what about other people? Like, how are they, like, they don't sleep with you, they don't wake up with you, they don't help you with anything, they're not there when you're crying and you've lost all your money and you have nowhere to stay, they're not with you they're not with you ever. All of these people that are judging you, that say no, that you're not capable, that you can't sing, that you can't dance. By the way, if you feel like you are a singer and somebody's like, you can't really sing that good, guess what? Practice. You're gonna get better, and bitch, you can sing now. Like anything that you feel like you wanted to do, even if you was never a singer, if you were never a dancer, if you were never an architect, if you were never a school driver, a garbage man, or whatever it is that you wanted to do, like, if you want to do it, it's possible. Focus on it and you can do it.
Best at it, you know?
Yeah, you can, like, that's one thing I know for sure. Like, anything that you want to do is like, and people say it from a perspective like, that dreams can come true, and it's like people are like, oh yeah, dreams can come true. And I'm like, no, it's a real thing. Like whatever you want, you can make it, you can manifest it and make it come to life, literally.
Oh, yeah. What about anyone you want to shout out?
I really want to shout out all of my fans. Like, there's some people that just really go so like Team Vega goes so hard, and they really defend me throughout everything, and they repost things, and they protect me, and they always make sure that I'm good, and they really help spread the word, and they support my dream. I think that there's nothing better in the world than knowing that your dream is being supported by people that really do love you and that really have your back. Like, there's nothing bigger to me than that. That's like when you're like, wow, like, y'all really believe in me. Like, I do this for you guys. Like, I do this for them. Like, in days when I just can't go anymore, it's like I think about my family and I think about my fans, and I'm
They're
like,
there for you. Yeah,
because it's like, if y'all didn't exist, then there kind of really wouldn't be a reason for me. I would just be doing this at home, you know?
Yeah, because they're what got you here in the first place, or like you got you here, but they like helped.
Exactly. I mean, you can do what you want to do, but without your fans, it's kind of like
a little motivation.
I mean, but you don't have anything without your fans. Yeah. You're just
in your
doing
room,
art.
Like,
yeah.
What about where they can find you at?
Veronica Vega on Instagram, Veronica Vega on Twitter, and my Facebook is Vegamundo. And then I also wanted to say I have this bike ride.
Bike ride?
A bike ride, yes. A bicycle ride. No motor, pedals. And we ride from Atlanta, Georgia to Miami, Florida. It takes us 16 days. We cover all costs for whoever wants to join the ride. It's open to anybody that wants to join. And it's a growth journey. So you would ride your bike, I would be on the ride too, and there's 10 other people on the ride. And we pay for your bicycle and your hotel stay. You stop in a different hotel every single night. You ride a certain amount of miles. We have car support to make sure that everybody is hydrated and has the proper nutrition that they need. And you basically push yourself to the limit. It's like a way to really do the impossible. A lot of people feel like something like that would be impossible, and nobody, I just feel like this is for people. I wanted to give an opportunity to people who feel like nobody's ever invested in them. Nobody has ever really given them an opportunity to grow. Nobody's ever been like, I think that you can do it. I believe in you. And this is me telling the world that I believe in them, and I'm willing to give you a shot at doing something that you feel like is beyond your belief. And the bike ride is called A2MIA, the letter A, the number 2, and MIA. And you can go on A2MIA.com and you can register to ride the bike ride, and we will pick the people who will actually ride. So we're doing that September 17th.
That's funny because the last girl I interviewed, I told her that my friend did a bike ride from Miami to the Keys, and she thought that was crazy, and that only take like a day.
Yeah.
So like 16 days is like, that's a lot.
Yeah, it takes us 16 days, but it's great because you learn so many things about the people that you're riding with. I feel like you start when you're on a bike for 3 days, 4 days. Like, it's not like all you're focused on is getting to the end.
Yeah.
So at that point, some days it rains. So obviously, you're going to get flat tires. Obviously, you're not going to be able to eat the things that you were normally able to eat or do the things that you wanted to do. Your muscles are going to be fatigued, but mostly your mental is going to be fatigued. And you're going to have to learn to work as a team. You're going to have to learn to look out for people. You're going to have to learn to be aware. You're going to have to... There's so many things that you learn on this bike ride that are directly related to life. Within 16 days. It's like a life course in 16 days, like boom. So anybody who's watching the interview who would want to sign up, who's excited, who like I said, who feels like maybe nobody's ever invested in them, who's never had an opportunity to do something out of this world, somebody who's seeking adventure, somebody who wants to change their life, somebody who wants to meet new people, who wants to travel, who wants to, this is that opportunity. Like, invest in yourself. Like, let me help you invest in yourself.
Yeah, that's a great idea. If you made it to the end of this interview, then just like comment bike so that we know that you're like interested, or like just where can they find it at again?
A2MIA.com.
A2MIA.
Yeah,
for sure. So this has been 6 Feet with the one and only
Veronica Vega.
Hey.